Welcome to Study Loop.
10. Suppose firms become very optimistic about future business conditions and invest heavily in new capital equipment. Question A is asking us to draw an aggregate demand and supply diagram to show the short-run effect of this optimism on the economy, and label the new levels of prices in real output, and explain why the aggregate quantity of our output supply changes. So this is actually very intuitive because we know now that the firm is going to invest more in capital. Say they're going to build new machines or they're going to buy a new computer that runs faster. So that is why they can produce more output. So the aggregate supply curve is positive sloping, and aggregate demand is downward sloping. So we know that since every firm is going to produce more output, the supply moves to the right hand side. The supply line moves to the right hand side because there is like a unanimous increase in the amount. So this is called aggregate supply prime. All right, so question B is saying that now use this same diagram and show the long run equilibrium and explain why the aggregate quantity of output demanded also changes. So first of all, we know that the equilibrium is the black dot over here. So so the economy is in need of this amount of output, say Q, big capital Q, and the price level is P. And after the firm decided to invest in capital, they can produce more. So the new equilibrium is larger than the old quantity, while the price level goes down. Because if the demand line doesn't change, they produce more goods, so on the economy, each good has a lower unit price. But this is the first stage of change. What about the second stage? So since we know that the firm are supplying lots of, for example, say iPhone on the market, all those people who work in the firm are earning more profits, right? So if those workers go shopping or do some investment or consumption, since they're richer, they are going to increase the aggregate demand as well. The demand in the long run is going to shift to the right. So this is the A D prime. So we now know that the new equilibrium is the green dot here. So the equilibrium moves from black to blue in the short run, and in the long run, the aggregate demand is also going to adjust to increase to catch up with this like an advancement of technology and capital. So we have this new long run equilibrium at the green dot. So then we can answer question C. How might the investment boom, which is the first shift of this blue line over here, affect the long run aggregate supply curve? So we know from this chapter that the long run aggregate supply curve is always vertical. So since we know that the original equilibrium is the black dot, this vertical line, which is long run aggregate supply, is going through this black dot. And as what I just said, with this transition phase, the economy is eventually going to land at this green dot as the new equilibrium. And the long run aggregate supply curve is also going to shift to the right. So then we know that in the long run, this investment boom is actually going to help the economy because let's extend this black x-axis. Why is it good for the economy? Because at the end, we have this amount of output, which is say Q star way larger than the original quantity here. So this is the whole concept of analyzing this question.